Casual Magic has been sponsored by Quiver, maker of the Quiver and Bolt deck cases and other fine deck holding accessories. Use the code CASUAL on their website for 10% off your order. You can also support Casual Magic directly by going to our Patreon at patreon.com/ShivanB. And now, on with the show. Welcome to Casual Magic, the show where we talk about the fun side of Magic the Gathering. My name is Shivam, Bhatt, and Casual Magic is brought to you by Quiver and my patrons at patreon.com/ShivanB. Today I'm joined by k0ppk0pp, who's like, I don't know, I've seen you on Twitter, I've seen you on the social medias, text-based social medias, I've seen you on the Instagram, and we got to hang out at Shoebox, and you're a content creator and like host and EDH commentator type. And I don't know, Shoebox was so cool because it was so small that I got to really get to know people and actually sit down and talk and like it was weird. It was like after you go to a Magic Con and you come back from a Magic Con and you're used to 100,000 people and there's like 30 people at like Shoebox was like, you know, let's real talk. It's like 100 people. 40 of whom are the random nomads of folks that we know that go to every con. And 60 of them are the locals who are just like, do not care who we are, even in the slightest.
Yeah, they're just happy to be there. They were just happy to have a space to like play Magic and do things.
Yeah, it's like it's snowing, and they're like, "Hey, look, we can go in and play some cards." It was great, and it's been a long time since I've been able to just hang out at a con and just feel like nobody cares and nobody wants me to do anything. So I'm just here, guys. But as a result of that, I got to actually talk to you for the first time for like an extended period of time, which was nice. And so I wanted to have you on because you had earlier, before I even knew who you were, you would like, because periodically I'll post up like hey, who wants to come on Casual? Someone tell me. And you came up with some interesting ideas that I was like, oh, we should talk. Because one of my, this is going to sound weird. One of my favorite episodes I've ever done was with Ellie Rice, who is now at Wizards of the Coast. It was in my first year, and we had both talked about how our addictive problems with Magic had driven us to financial ruin, which is a lovely thing for one person who is like a pillar of the community, the other person who is literally working at Wizards to be saying. But it's important for us to sit there and discuss openly the challenges of being a part of a game that literally created the loot box, right? Like, and like part of, it's important to be honest and important to discuss with our communities, like, especially now that we live in an era with things like collector boxes and secret layers and time limited thingy bobbers. And like, you know, like back in the day, the problem was, oh man, they're going to get the from the vault before we do, or they're going to get the like that stupid Planeswalker set that came with Guilds of Ravnica, War of the Spark, whatever.
Oh yeah. Or the spell books. I remember the spell books.
Well, I mean, real talk, the spell books. The spell books did so badly that they're just like, you could probably still buy them at cost or less.
We still have them. We have boxes of the black spell book.
They were cool. I liked them. I was the only one who liked them because literally the Gideon spellbook was made specifically in response to me whining about them killing off Gideon in War of the Spark.
Justice for Gideon.
Well, dude, if you look at the flavor text for the Rest in Peace for Gideon, was and for the Gideon cards, James Wyatt, who's a wizard designer, D&D designer, who did like a lot of the flavor text and sculpting for that product, literally was responding to me and my anger that the one dude with faith in Magic gets offed, even though how does a man who has goddamn indestructibility as his literal only power get vaporized? I'm like, this is the one thing he does. It's the one thing he does. How are you going to tell me that the dude whose literally whole gimmick is you can't kill me gets vaporized?
I think that was like the biggest rug pull for the Magic community was
so
like over and over and over again, he becomes a 4/4 indestructible human, whatever. And you're like, but
what if we killed him?
It's not a gag. It's not a gag.
I was so mad. I was so mad. I was like, you've got to be friggin' kidding. How do you? Okay. This is one of my hills to die on. Like,
I
if you
love
get,
this.
oh, dude, if you get my friend, like, for instance, Ben Wheeler, if you get him started on the fact that Loxodon Warhammer now says lifelink instead of when you attack, you gain this much life, he will go on a rant for like 15 minutes of just like, glowing red, sweat pouring from his forehead, just anger.
I always love that they errated the locks on Warhammer, but not the Spirit Link, where the Spirit Link still.
Right.
It's like, what do we? Okay, sure,
what
Jan.
What are we doing? Come on.
What are we doing?
It's
See, this is why I'm glad we finally have gotten to connect after being in the same space for so long, because I was like, I know that Shivam and I are going to have a blast talking to each other. We just have to like find the moment, and sometimes the moment takes time and patience.
I mean, it's one of those things I just genuinely apologize to people about. It's like, there are so many people who I would love to talk to and get to know and are just incredibly cool people. But when I go to an event, dude, I don't even know my own name, let alone somebody else's. And that's why Shoebox was so cool. Oh my God, are you kidding? Like, Alan's been trying to get me to play his stupid cube for 1,000 million years. And I was finally like, you know what? I've got literal nothing to do. I'm going to play your cube. And it was amazing.
That cube is absolute. I will never forget you channeling into an Emrakul on turn 2. I'll never forget it, Shivam.
But will you remember
in my memory?
Yeah, dude, channeling Emrakul turn 2, one of the greatest things I've ever done, except for the fact the dude who literally played Caracas that exact turn. I am so upset. I
wrote a haiku about it on my Instagram story. It was so iconic to me.
I mean, I still love that I recast Emrakul like twice. That
you did. Oh, and I won off a fireball. I classic.
Dude, that game was so good.
Yeah.
Holy crap, dude. Mental Misplay has a cube that is full of the most heinous and weird cards you've ever seen, and also just like multiple copies of cards, so that if you want to play something, you won't feel like, oh, I better get the one copy of this. No, there's like 2 channels in there. You want channel? You're gonna have it. I had 3 different Emrakuls or 4 different Emrakuls. I had like 2 channels. I mean, my deck was literally doing here to do one thing and one thing alone, and that is beef on the table.
Yeah, and it did it well.
Oh,
that cube is that cube is like, every card is, well, hold on. What does Alan say? Every card's fire and the fixing is garbage. And he's not wrong. Yes. You open your first pack and you're overwhelmed with the sheer power level of what you're looking at. You're
got past a Black Lotus.
Yeah, exactly.
I got past a Black Lotus. I went Black Lotus into channel into Emrakul, which is literally the greatest thing you could possibly want, right? But at the same time, what the hell are you doing that you're passing me a Black Lotus?
Exactly. What card did you take?
Like, what could you possibly like? Love you, Mishadam. I don't know what you were doing there, but God bless. Oh my God, that was a fun time. Oh, dude. So before we get into like whatever we were going to talk about, what do you do in this community? Like, when did you start like content creating, and what's your kind of aim here?
So I do a lot of in-person work. Like over time, I have figured out that like my content lives so much in-person community management, community engagement, interviewing people, hosting panels, doing tournament commentary for EDH, CDH. I've always like, the dream for me is like pro tour coverage. I just like sitting at that desk one day would be an absolute beautiful thing. But that comes from my theater background. I did theater for 20 years, you know?
Oh, geez.
And so when I started doing content in 2020, it was because theater collapsed. Like 20-year industry fell apart overnight.
Turns out you can't I don't know what happened in 2020, but it turned out a lot of the things that you could do in person suddenly didn't
it work anymore? Who knows? Anyway. But I pivoted the content because I had a very good friend. Her name's Chie, and she was like, listen, you gotta put some new tools in your toolbox. And so I was watching a lot of Twitch at the time, and I was like, I can do this, I think. I just need to learn how. And I researched it a bunch. My play group that I've played with for years was already playing Commander at the time on Zoom. This was before Spell Table came out. We were playing on Zoom, you know? We were playing on Zoom, and I was like, well, we're going to just play every Saturday. I'm going to go live. And if something happens, something happens. And so every Saturday at 5 o'clock, I'd go live. They would play the game. I would talk over the game as they were playing it. I didn't intend for that to be commentary, but that's over time what people were like, you're doing tournament commentary. You're talking about lines of play. And I was like, oh, they're right. So I just leaned in heavy on it. And then that led to my first MagicCon was MagicCon Minneapolis. I didn't get a creator badge. I just went to see what the community was like and fell in love. I think MTG Summit was where I really connected with the community for the first time. That was Veggie, Anna Margaret.
Well, I mean, if you're going to connect with anybody, those two are just saints.
Yeah. Giraffe and Nat, like they, MTG Baron, they all just sort of scooped me up. And I was like, oh, this is not a competitive community. This is a welcoming space.
Well,
and so,
it is a competitive community. It's just that the ones who are competing tend to find themselves floating somewhere else very quickly.
Yeah.
Like you will very soon realize that this is not the place for that kind of thing, and it's not going to do what you want.
Right.
But when did you find Magic, or like, were you playing Commander already before?
I've been playing Magic since 2008. This was back in sophomore year of high school. I was doing competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! At the time. I was like literal regionals, nationals, grinding with the locals at my LGS in South Carolina. And some guys at the school were like, Yu-Gi-Oh's for babies. You should play Magic. And I was like, I don't know what that is. So the irony is, and what I love about Shoebox as an event is they gave me a shoebox of Magic cards. And it was, I had bought the Onslaught Black-White Cleric Typal deck was my first pre-constructed 60 card. They gave me a shoebox of Black-White cards to help me make it better. And so I played Magic on the side. And then when I got to college, competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! Took a back seat to school. But I always came back to Magic. Every single time there would be a break or a party or friends were over, we would pick up Magic. And so it followed me through all of undergrad, all of grad school, followed me to New York, found a play group in New York, and it's been the consistent. So never did I think I would be doing this, but then again, who thinks that they will be?
When I started playing Magic in 1994 or whatever, I was not thinking that I'd be 45 years old talking about Magic cards as a living. You know, it's like,
yeah.
Sometimes life just, as they say, life finds a way.
Life finds a way. Yes.
But it's also like, and I'm just thinking, like, right now when I have to pull my reading glasses out to look at some of these Strixhaven cards or whatever, and I'm sitting there looking at a Yu-Gi-Oh card because my son had a minute where he was like, maybe I'll play some Yu-Gi-Oh, and I'm like, I can't read these cards even with LASIK and like good eyes. I don't know how you play this game except with like magnifying glasses or something, because like the cards are already small, and then there's a book on each one.
Yeah, it is not at all what it used to be when I played. Like when I played, Yu-Gi-Oh! Was heavy control. It was a lot of tempo. That was what we did. And Konami at the time was so actively against what we would call OTKs or FTKs, right? First turn kills or one turn kills. They would ban cards aggressively to shut decks down. Now, I think they at some point just leaned in and said, well, this is our game. So now this is how the game is played. But that taught me how to read cards and predict lines of play and what people would do. And like, I remember when I was doing research for Foundations, when I was an ambassador for that set, I did a lot of digging back into like my childhood and remembered that like my grandmother and I used to play cards. She taught me to play Go Fish and Old Maid. And when I would lose, she would teach me why I lost. And so I was like, this track of thinking goes so far back to me being like 6-7 years old at the dining room table. So maybe this is the thing that I should just continue and lean into and follow down a path. And then, you know, the theater side married the nerdy side, married the gaming, and it all just kind of coagulated into a bubble that is like me.
Well, I mean,
now.
that's why if we're talking polyam marriages here, of course you play Magic now. Like,
yes.
Someone was coming up with like, what do you call a group of trans women? And I'm like, a CDH pod.
Yes. Exactly. Another beautiful aspect of Shoebox, by the way. So,
Yeah, dude.
like the trans community
It
coming
was
out for that
trans
event
as
was
hell.
fire. Yes.
It was pretty wild. I mean, I love that about Magic, that especially now the modern day of Magic has become so very welcoming and like just not even welcoming, but just like openly accepting and like courting like
Yes.
the queer and trans communities and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, let's go. I like this.
That's part of why I keep doing this. Like there's a part of me that's like, where is the growth? Where is the like financial gain? Where is any of those things that, it's like, those are all bullshit. The reason why I continue doing it is because like, let me go back. Where's the growth? Where's the financial gain? Those are all like, whatever. They may or may not come with time. But like the reason why I do it is because 2008 Steven, who was still in the closet playing Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh, would have never seen a version of me in front of him doing events, doing Magic, doing content at all, right? And so like I want to be for that queer kid or that gay kid who may be still in the closet or maybe a nerd but doesn't want to be self-expressive or go to the LGS and feel comfortable, playing and coming out with people. Those people need someone to look at and go, well, hey, there's visibility right there. Like sitting across from me at the EDH pod is visibility. And that is huge.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things, like, for the longest time, like, I mean, Magic is a huge and diverse game, but like there were very few like prominent brown dudes in the game. There was like Cedric and me. Yep. And I'm like, yeah, well, you know what? It's important to be, if you're going to be the one, somebody's got to be there. Somebody's got to be that person. And especially like I was talking to Amanda and some of the other to Onion Bug and some of the other folks at Shoebox, and they're like, yeah, dude, I know that you don't like Clover, but like the idea of having an all trans woman generated and run format here is so important for all these young trans kids who are out there who want to play Magic, and they're like, wow, not only is there a community for us, but there's like formats made by us and of this thing. And I'm like, and I love that. I love that exists. And I love that we've got this space that allows for growth in that regard. Yeah. And that's so sick to me. That's like so cool. But like, that's the sort of thing that we have to also be careful with, because it's one thing to have a really welcoming community that's super awesome and open and great and home to so many diverse like communities all over the world. It's another thing that we have to sit and think about, what is it the community that we're doing, that we're bringing people into? Magic is an insanely expensive hobby. Magic is not only an insanely expensive hobby, it is the FOMO-iest of FOMO hobbies that has ever been created. It created the notion of FOMO. It created the notion of scarcity, of rarity, of loot boxes, of hoping to crack that one pack to get the Jace the Mind Sculptor / whatever the hell it is. I don't even know what's good anymore.
Chase because the like, Mind Sculptor. Chasing a Jace, the Mind Sculptor back in the day was everything.
Dude, I remember the day I opened my first Planeswalker from a set, from a pack, and I was like, and it was like, you get the shakes and you're like, oh my God, I got a Planeswalker. And nowadays, after like War of the Spark, you're like, oh, look, it's 38 other Planeswalkers, I guess. Like I was actually
we shaded War of the Spark so much from killing Gideon to 36 Planeswalkers.
Oh, dude, I have that set and me have beef that goes back in a long ways. Literally, the only good thing that came out of that set was the utterly sick trailer for it. That was like back when it was still cool to do like dark wave versions of pop songs, and they had like the Linkin Park track.
Oh,
it was so good. It was like phenomenal. And then the set just let me the hell down.
It's the grindiest limited format ever. Yeah.
Oh my God. It was. Who decided that Narset was a card that needed to exist?
Who decided that Kiora was a card that is a 3-mana 7?
But like some of those cards were just stupid. And you know what? That'll be for Shivam Wheeler. We will deal with that later. However, one thing I've been noticing lately is like, because I was just poking around. I'm like, oh, I should go and sell some of these bulk cards I've got sitting around, because I've got hundreds of billions of cards or whatever, right? And what I realized is like Magic is at a place now where all these cards are super cheap and you can just buy whatever. And I realized that was because all of the turbo chase cards that people want are in like collector boosters or in these, like yesterday I was buying my Strixhaven, Secrets of Strixhaven cards. And I saw that one individual collector booster of this card packs was $45.
Yeah, that's about what we have at my LGS. 44, yeah.
That is, yeah, it's like $44.99, whatever it is. Are you kidding me? Like, I realize that and people are like, oh, dude, don't you know about how much things cost? I'm like, look, man, the only reason I can get away with a lot of this game is because it's subsidized either by my work here and through like, tax write-offs and whatever, or because periodically a long time ago, Wizards used to send me cards. They don't anymore. But like, otherwise, there's no way in hell. There's no way in hell, man.
The introduction of the collector booster is such a pivot, like a cultural hinge in the Magic community that I think has like really shifted us into a space of we look at cards sometimes a lot more as value. And that is financial value, not in-game value, not like playable value. Because you're right, the cards that people are chasing, the hundreds and hundreds of dollars, and I specifically focus on Final Fantasy when I think of this. When I think of like the real aggressive collector chase that happened in the Final Fantasy release, was either in a collector pack or what you see now is I call them the $5 uncommons, like the stock ups of the world. Flow State is like currently sitting around $4 and $5. I had 4 legacy players buy 4 boxes each of play boosters strictly to crack Flow States, and then tried to trade Flow States to trade for other cards from people's pre-release kits to gather as many Flow States as they could because it's so good in legacy.
Flow State the new card that everybody wants?
Yeah. Really? Oh yeah.
What the hell? Flow State's just like that card draw spell, isn't it?
Well, so yeah, 1 and a blue, look at the top 3, put an instant or sorcery into your hand, but if there's an instant or sorcery in your graveyard, you put 2 into your hand. Right. So the flow state fuels the flow state, and in Legacy, where it's a force and negation, another flow, you just like sort of.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Wow, but it's $8. What?
Thank you. It went up. It went up in the past 2 days since Friday pre-release that I worked.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
Anyways, but like. Yeah, like that's the thing. You know what I noticed, and this is weird. Like when I figured this out, I was like, this is the silliest thing I've ever seen in my life, which is, first off, the fact that collector boosters exist now. They got rid of set boosters because good reasons to get rid of set boosters. Fine, I give you that. But like, because collector boosters exist and people are looking for the golden chocobo or the one ring or whatever the hell it is, you open a million collector boosters. And what are collector boosters? Collector boosters are all foils and like 30 mythics and rares, right? Like a million mythics and rares in there and like a billion commons. And what you realize is that all the actual super chase expensive power cards are at uncommon now because there's no uncommons to find anywhere because you have to open normal play booster to get them, and nobody does. And I realized this because I was looking for just random uncommon equipment for my Furion deck or whatever the hell it was. And it's like, I've opened thousands of packs of this set. How do I not have even one random like attack a dude, gain a treasure equipment or whatever the hell? And that's when I realized.
The pickaxe? Are you looking for the pickaxe from Ixalan?
Dude, I've told this story on like multiple podcasts now, but I was looking for that pickaxe. I picked up, and this is indicative of this story right here. I picked up an old Ixalan pre-release kit that I had, and I cracked it up because I'm like, maybe I didn't even know. It was literally under a chest of drawers. And I went and I dug it out. And I'm like, oh, maybe this will have the damn pickaxe I need. And I opened it. And inside were a whole mess of foil Lord of the Rings rares and mythics, including 3 One Rings. And like a bunch of the posters and a bunch of the weirdo famous supercards. And I'm like, I need a 10-cent goddamn pickaxe, and I've got $3,000 of cards here.
But that's such like, that is one, that is the universe making a joke at you for sure, but that's also like so indicative of the problem.
Right, like, and I was just like, and I wasn't even like, I was mad because I'm like, I don't need this. What am I doing with it? I did sell them for like a lot of things, but that's fine. But it's more that it was like, I've been, what happened? And like, especially now with secret layers. Secret layers are even worse because they were like, oh, these are, when secret layers came out and it was just like, here's a weird new art for a card you already have. And then it was like, here's a random set of cards that are very specific for a person, but most people aren't going to care. And now it's like, here's the hottest stuff you've ever seen in your life. And if you're not there at 9:02, this is gone.
I was so stressed trying to get the Spider-Man secret layers. I was like, if I don't get at least one of them, I'm gonna absolutely like lose my shit because I'm sitting in this queue at like
Right?
9 a.m. with my cup of coffee. I'm like, please, please,
Yeah,
please.
dude. Or like, I got Dan, and I was so lucky. I mean, like, I hate this. I hate
Yeah.
that this game has become like, because what it is that this we in Magic we have an addiction problem, and obviously these guys want to. So I need to back up a step. So here's the thing:
Mhm.
Wizards of the Coast is a capitalistic commercial company owned by Hasbro. They want to make money. I get that. And they are looking at these cards and they're like, hey, you know what? $3 a pack, people are buying everything we put. $4 a pack, people are buying everything we print. $5 a pack, people are buying everything we print. Maybe there's money on the table from a business standpoint. I get it. It's like, okay, you know what? The customer base is obviously there. They want to buy all these things. What if we start selling directly to them and put a bunch of garbage cards in Secret Layer? Oh, they sold out? Oh, what if we
Yep.
put randomly good cards in there? Oh, and then it's like, hey, basketball cards do these things where they sell, infinite packs, and 1 out of 1,000 packs is going to have like a little fragment of, I don't know, Steph Curry's jersey on it, or some like, here's a cup of his spit or something, like whatever. And it turns out the basketball card guys and the baseball card guys and stuff are like buying them by the millions. Hey, Magic players like things. What if we put serial numbers on cards and then put them into packs that cost as much as a box used to cost?
Yeah.
And
It's
then, right? And
it's
the problem
indicative
is, yeah,
of the
yeah,
consumer feeding the consumer telling the corporation exactly what to do, right?
yeah. The
Like, can I
consumer is going there and hit me, hit me, hit me. It's like
Yeah.
we're sitting at a blackjack table and they're like, all right, buddy. But at a blackjack table, the house always wins.
Yeah.
At a magic table, the house always wins.
Yeah. I don't so I as a sober person of 5.5 years, I have a fundamental thing where I don't buy packs. Like
Mm,
the only moment in which I would buy a pack is if I'm in like an EDH box league, or if I'm doing some sort of like consistent thing where the goal is to sort of build within limitation, but I'm not going to
yes.
go to an LGS and grab a pack or 3 packs or 5 or whatever. It's
Oh
just
yeah,
not
I don't do that
something that
anymore.
yeah, I can't do that. It's just I have to set my own boundaries for myself, and I kind of that's sort of one of the things I ask or hope in the community is that like sort of we zoom out a little bit and see the purchasing trend and how we are informing the things that we're complaining about. Like we are the reason why these things continue to happen because of purchasing patterns, and you don't have to have the thing. And I say that because I say it to myself a lot because I think I do. I feel like I do need to have the thing, but maybe I actually don't because it's going to fuel a physical response, a chemical response, a mental response. Like there's a whole bunch of
I
science
mean,
tied up into it.
real talk, if this was a lesson that humans could learn, the Buddha would not have been telling us about this 5,000 years ago, about how attachment leads to sadness.
Yeah.
Like wanting things is bad. When you want things, you feel you get it. And like, think about how many times does this pattern happen in your life where you're like, oh crap, there's a set out and it's got this super sick card that I absolutely desperately need for my, ragged ragged deck or whatever the hell it is. And then you go and you hunt down, you buy it, and then you get it and you put it on your table, you crack a million packs, you finally open it, you put it on your desk, and you forget about it for the next 7.5 months. And then later you're like, oh, I don't even want this, doesn't do anything. Why did I even want this crap? And like that happens more basically. So if to get a little personal about myself, and if you guys want to hear more of the story, highly recommend going back and listening to the episode I did with Ellie Rice back in season 1. But one of the biggest things about me is that I have an addictive personality. And I've known this since I was a child, which is that I used to lie and steal money from my parents to try to buy magic cards, or I would get like hooked on things. I would try to like, you know, like my friends would have cards and I would try to steal them and then I'd feel guilty and I'd give them back and say, oh, you forgot about this or you left this somewhere. And because like, Hindu guilt plus just like needing to, and I'm like, this is bad. And I had to quit cold turkey for years. And having the self-awareness to realize this is bad for me also came from the fact that I would get addicted to online games like Diablo. I would log on Friday and log off Sunday morning or whatever it is, and like
Mm.
just tie up the phone line and be playing all weekend. And I was like, oh, this is going to be the end of me if I do this. And like my girlfriend, my wife now, who's been my wife 20 something years or whatever, we came up with like she knew I had played Magic before or whatever. And once I got a salary, she bought me a box once and I got back into the game. But what I realized was that I don't trust myself with money in buying things. And I can't trust myself. I can't just go out and say, like, oh, I'm going to behave and I'm going to buy this one thing and it's going to be fine. So we ended up making an agreement of like, I've got a set limit of money I'm allowed to spend on Magic and I have to fuel it by selling Magic. And I only buy cards at pre release. At pre release, I buy my pre release kits, I buy my one box or my collector box, or whatever. And if Wizard of the Coast is sending me a card, that doesn't count because that's different. If somebody else,
Right.
some company or some corporate or some friends are giving me cards, that doesn't matter. But if I'm spending money once a quarter, back when it was 4 times a year, I could get away with this. Once a quarter, I go and I spend money. I buy my pre-release kits in my box and I come home. Now it's every goddamn month.
It's every, yeah, as somebody who runs all the events and the community management of the LGS that I work at, like the owner and I co-run them together. But when we sit down and we plan 3 quarters ahead, and every time we do this exasperated exhale of like, oh my God, there's only 6 weeks until the next one. Okay, all right, buckle up, everybody. We got another pre-release is like right around the corner. I wish I had the foresight you did. I did not know that I had an addictive personality. I knew my dad did, and he drank himself to death, and like I was like, couldn't be me, honey, you know. But lo and behold, turns out in 2020, when your life collapses and you lose your apartment and your relationship and your entire life is like, what happened? Then you go, oh no, it's too late. Like I know. But yeah, I'm glad you had the self-awareness to be able to like see it, because I had to retroactively relook at my entire life and see the patterns and like, oh no, I do have an addictive personality. Like,
dude, like that's why like when all my friends and stuff in college would be drinking or we'd be like experimenting with drugs and things, I knew enough about myself to be like, I can't. And it's not that I don't, like, people are like, oh, are you sober? You don't drink? I'm like, no, it's just I'll drink with food. If we're going out and getting fancy food at like a cool restaurant, yeah, I'll try out their cool cocktail menu. I don't care. But I don't drink for fun. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't drink to just hang out and be like, oh, we're just gonna go get drinks. Okay, well, I'll see you guys. It's more that I'm like, I know I've seen where this path leads for me. I know that I am very much the exact guy who's going to feel that thing and then want to feel that thing again. And I was like, no, I can't do this. I'm like, I've got one addiction. That's magic. And that's magic that's controlled. Or like, I say it's controlled because I want to believe it. I know it's not. I know I just did my taxes. I saw how much money I spent on magic cards last year.
I've got the receipts on myself.
I saw how many secret layers I bought. I saw how many friggin' boxes and packs I bought. And yeah, like I can get away with it because as a content creator, I have found the addiction trick, which is I can write that off as taxes.
Yes.
But but that's not you can't. This is not a way to do a thing. This is
Stop
awful.
giving yourself a loophole, Shivam.
Yeah, this is awful, dude. This is like, what are we doing to these kids? Bringing them into this game.
That's the hard part I see it in the Magic community a lot. I see players who come in, they're coming in for Commander Night. They see some shiny card, some card in the case that they're like, wow, that's really pretty. And they'll think about it and then they'll walk away. And then they'll come back halfway through the night and they'll be like, no, I'm getting it. And I'm like, are you okay? I can't say no as the retail employee. I can't say no. I don't know your situation. But I know in my head that watching you consider that there is a hesitation to that purchase, that $50, $80 card purchase. But like, here we are. And it's even more so in the Pokemon community, especially. It's so aggressive. And I feel bad for kids who are with their parents who are trying to collect cards. But the Pokemon purchasing and the collector community is so aggressive. I've been yelled at over the phone by people trying to find Pokemon packs because we don't have them. And it's like, it's not my fault, but I know as a sober person who sat in rooms talking to other people who have addictions that like, I know that the person yelling at me isn't intending to yell at me like on purpose. They're not, what they're going through is like not the thing that I should hold against them, but I really hate that they're going through it, you know?
Yes. It is such a, and I just sit there and I'm like, I look at like, because like I talk to a lot of people all the time who are coming into Magic from different places or who are brand new to the game or whatever, and I'm like, buddy, why did you do this? Like, and I'm like, I love Magic. This is my favorite game. I've been playing it for half my life. I've This is my career. This is what I do. But I'm like, at the same time, how responsible is it for me to bring you into a game that I know is going to lead you to financial ruin? Unless it's like, and yes, I realize, commenter, that I can just tell people like, yeah, go ahead and proxy things. But real talk, that's not a realistic answer for people, because eventually the proxy is not going to do it. And
Yeah.
you're going to want to get the cool card. And you want the shiny thing. I know, because like my decks all have to like, I famously play garbage cards, but they're the fanciest garbage cards you've ever, like my pauper deck, my friggin' elves pauper deck has beta elves. All of the lands are
Yeah.
Euro lands. All of the cards are like tricked out weirdo foil. It's like, yeah, look, this deck could be made for literal $3, or you could be me. Like,
I like giving people the slide. I like giving people the slide in of like either start with arena or like start with a limited. Go to a pre-release. Go play a draft. Go buy a few jumpstart packs, or like go grab a welcome deck. We created a terrible catch-22 where Commander, being the most popular format, is the first thing that people enter into, and that's that. I go, why? Oh, why have you done this to yourself? Like, entering into a pool of cards that is like thousands, tens of thousands large is like so overwhelming to people, but they're going to track down the strongest thing, the most homogenized deck list that they can, that is the most optimized and that's going to win. And they want to win, so they're going to spend the money on it. And it's like, that isn't the way that we should be doing
like
it.
For a long time, Magic, and people like to bitch about the fact that standard like forces rotation and forces you to spend more cards and buy more cards. But the trade-off is also, it is a much smaller pool of cards to get into. It's much easier to get into. It is much more, frankly, cost effective, because you can always have sold those cards back to your store later to the EDH players who would buy them. We had a nice little ecosystem going. But now that EDH is the prime, and EDH is like every card ever, and people are like, oh, I need intuition for my deck. What do you mean it costs $750 for an intuition? Right? Like, or hey, everybody else has got a Gaia's Cradle. Let me pick up one of those. How bad could that be?
Yeah. Yeah, people will request cards in our Discord channel, and then they'll be like shocked at the price, and it's like, did you not research it, my person? Like, did you not?
Like, it's like someone's like, how much did you spend on your deck? And I'm like, $4 a pack, because I bought it when I was 12 and it's just here. Like, like I know that I'm sorry that I've got those, like the Tropical Island or whatever, they cost $10,000 now, but it didn't cost me $10,000.
See, that's the thing. I don't even own a duel. Like full, like I own no duels because I refuse to like pay for the money for them that they are worth now.
Just take any of those stupid comes into play tapped lands, scratch out the tapped part with a Sharpie, and you've got a duel.
You heard it here first.
Look, here's the thing, because like I was looking at my Nira deck. My Nira deck is blue-red, and I've got a volcanic that is unlimited. I didn't even realize until I was looking at it. I'm like, oh, that I can't use an unlimited Volk. That's like, there's like amount of monies that I'm willing to just put in a deck, and then there's like, oh, I don't know if I want to bring it out. Yeah. So I just got one of the stupid Deadpool layers that just came out with the island that's got the mountain scratched over it, and I'm like, boom, there's my volcanic done and done.
Good.
But also, there we go. I had to FOMO buy another thing to like, so I would avoid spending $800. I still spent $80 on this thing, and I justify it to myself. Oh, it's only $80. I'm like, it's $80. This is not, we're in a huge recession now, right? Like, it's even more than ever. It is maybe the worst time you could get into Magic of all time.
Yeah, it is. But that's also the economic trend of nostalgic collectibles and recessions is one of the things that I talked about in a recent little like webinar thing that I did, where you see these trends of whether it's like Beanie Babies or now Pokemon cards. Is like, whenever there's a recession, people want to feel something. They want to feel like what they are purchasing has value, and it's something that they're being told has value, and there's a chase element to it to keep up with other people in your community. So we see people spending where they don't need to be spending in order to feel something. And that is like they go hand in hand, unfortunately. Is that like when we have recessions, we have an increase in nostalgic and collectibles.
We saw that
Um,
in COVID, right? Like
yeah.
when the lockdown hit, suddenly every old card you could think of spiked to hell and back. All the reserve list cards went up. All the old packs that I used to be able to just buy for like $10 or whatever are now $80. Like I used to just pick up unlimited soul rings all the time for like 5, $10. Nobody cared. And now they're like $150 or something.
Mhm.
And I'm like,
Mhm.
ah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably my fault because I have so many now unlimited soul rings. But also, when a card comes into my possession, it basically never leaves unless
Yeah.
I have to sell it to make my wife happy.
See, that's what I need to be doing more is I need to be doing selling more. And I say that to myself. So I also say that here is that like, I think that there's a lot, I'm sitting on a lot of value that I don't have awareness of that I'm not actually playing. And I'm starting to learn that I'd rather somebody else play a card and enjoy playing the card than for it to sit in my binder if it doesn't have value to me in the moment.
Because
But
the
then
thing
again,
is,
people would be like, what are you doing? Save it. It's going to be thousands of dollars down the road.
well, here's the thing, right? There's two responses to that I have. One is a card is only valuable if you sell it. Right? Like if you sell it, if you don't sell it, it is literally just paper. It's the same $3 you paid for it. It has no value. But for me, what I realize is if I think about things in terms of value, the mental detriment would be insane, right? Like because like I said, I'm a person with an addictive personality. If I know that this is worth money and that I can trade it and sell it and get more, and then I got to get that next hit, and then it's like, ooh, this is bad, and now we go back down that spiral. So I try to insulate myself as much as possible from the notion of these things having value. I treat all of my cards vaguely, roughly, not like on purpose, but just like ambiently. I don't care. Like the cards I put in sleeves are cards I
Give him a
think.
little like, little.
Well, it's more just like if I don't force myself to treat these cards like just like I don't care what they are, then
Mhm.
I will have a problem. And that is like, I mean, it's weird because like all my decks are foiled out and fancy and schmancy. I'm like, yeah, okay, well, that's also presentation, and we're all peacocks, and I like to show off. That's fine.
We are all peacocks, yes.
Am I wrong? Come on.
You're not wrong. You are not. I'm
Idiot.
stealing it. I'm stealing it, Shivam. We're all peacocks.
It's like we're all peacocks, buddy. I just need to show off my feathers. That's all. But like, if you like, it was funny. Like DJ, who's one of the big buyers and sellers in Magic, he came over to my house after a show once, and I just gave him a random box. I was like, "Hey, why don't you poke through this? You're sitting around," and he pulled out like $1,100 worth of cards that I didn't know I had because they were in 38th box from the bottom or whatever. And I'm like, I could pay for a lot in the just like stuff.
Yeah.
I've got stuff in binders that have been sitting there for. I mean, yeah, like yes, I've got cards that are worth a bagillion dollars, but I cannot allow myself to think of them in that way, and that means that when I have to sell cards. Or I only look at card prices when I need to buy one for a deck, and then I only look at card prices for selling when I'm like, oh, hey, someone was talking about this one card on a podcast. Maybe I don't know what it is. So I'm just going to sell it. What do you mean it's worth like $80 or like $200, whatever? Like, and if I don't keep myself deliberately ignorant, then I can't do this hobby anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. It's such a weird thing how I don't look around my apartment and constantly quantify the things that are around me, whether it's like my dishes or like my pillows or whatever, right?
Right.
It's like, but for some reason with this thing, this is the thing that I look at and I'm constantly quantifying it. And I have a friend, very dear friend of mine. He's been my friend for like 10 years. He's so good at watching what he calls the magic stock market. He'll literally like post in our Discord, like spikes and falls. And like, if you have this card, sell it. Or like, if you have this card, like sit on it. And I'm like, this is
I
not
don't
something I
think
can
in
pay
that way.
attention to. This like insider trading mindset is not how my brain works. And it would drive me insane if it did.
Oh, it's 100. Like the only time I ever noticed, I'm like, I was trying to get an Ouroboros for a deck.
Ooh, yeah.
And I was just like, oh man, this is sick, but I can't find Edge of Eternity's cards anywhere because again, FOMO, yay. Of course, we're going to take the set that comes out right after Final Fantasy and just print 3 copies.
Notoriously underprinted. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But like, and then I was like, what the hell do you mean this card costs like a lot of money? I don't know what. How much is it? It's like,
How much is it? Yeah, let's look it up. Look it
oh,
up.
let me see, because I've got, for whatever random reason I had. Oh, it's like 40-50 bucks or something. Yeah, and I was like,
Wild.
that card is super good. It's great. It's awesome. Is it 50 bucks of awesome? I don't know about that.
No.
But it's like, ugh. That's
back
why
in
I'm
my
like, hmm?
back in my day, like $50 card when I started playing Magic was something that was like so wildly unattainable in my mind
A
that it
$50
was
card
like,
when I started playing Magic was literally Black Lotus.
yeah,
And I feel stupid for not buying one then.
who would have known though, you know? But like, we talk about power creep a lot in the community, and I think we should also like address like financial creep and power creep go sort of hand in hand at the
Oh
same
yeah.
time. Like
Oh
as
yeah.
cards get overprinted and overpushed, they also just scale up in price, and it it feels sometimes I look at a card and I'm like, this feels deliberate, like you know,
Well, like Stock Up is such a good example. Stock Up
yeah,
is a random jank uncommon that is like carrying that whole set,
yeah.
right? Like who the hell cared about Stock Up's price? And it's like, now this thing is like 10, 12, $15 for an uncommon. Like, what? Stock Up?
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, it's a great card, but in like another world, it would have been rare. But it turns out all the rares, they just put it uncommon now.
Yeah.
Because
There's an article out there somewhere that is like listing all of the insane uncommons that are like high price and powerful that I
isn't it
would be
crazy?
super interested in, you know.
Yeah, like somebody needs to write that one. Like, talk about untimely malfunction from like
Unt-
freaking Duskmourn. That's like
Withering Torment or
yeah, Withering
yeah.
Torment is like a $3.50 card. Untimely malfunction's like a $6 card. Why?
Yeah.
These are just random limited crap that are suddenly like
All
super
the
good.
MH3 MDFCs, the uncommon
Oh, yeah.
MDFCs from MH3 we're sold out of all of them. They're impossible to find now.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, it just they moved rarity to uncommon.
Yes.
Which is
Yeah.
funny, but it's also like, what does that tell you about how they realize exactly what they did when they've stuffed every collector booster with infinite mythics. And I realize this podcast is going to make me look like a hypocrite when I start streaming and start cracking packs on stream and stuff. Yes, it will.
Yes.
100%
Period.
will. Like, it's going to, and I'm going to like disclaimer that, but also I have chosen the worst career for somebody with ethics to have, right? Like,
but that's the push and pull though. As somebody like as a person who identifies as an addict, I have a lot of people ask me like, why did you do this? Why did you start going into this field? Why did you start playing Magic? Because they seem to be at odds with each other. And
yeah.
my response to them is always, but isn't that the point? Like me learning my own narrative of my own push and pull narrative between my addictive tendencies and yet still wanting to have fun and spend time with people and develop community, that dialogue is more important for me to understand and negotiate than to just throw my hands up and walk away from something because I have an addiction or addictive personality and I can't process it. Like the dialogue is more important, you know?
It's really important to know who you are,
Yeah.
and to understand who you are as a person, and to be able to look at this and say, like, I have a problem and I know what the cause of my problem is, and then find a way to be able to engage. Like, look, I get it with drinking, with drugs, with other addictions. You can't engage with drinking in a way that's like going to be like, yeah, you know what? I know I have a problem drinking, but if I only drink this one thing that somebody else gave me, it'll be fine. No, you can't do that.
No.
Like, that's not how this works. But like something like Magic and stuff, you can put limits on how much you spend. And yes, you can break those limits and stuff, but that's also why I had to offload my limits to a second person. And I realize that's not possible for everybody, but like you can give yourself a bank, like you can put yourself into a PayPal account and say, like, this thing gets to withdraw $30 from my bank account every month. That is my Magic money.
Yeah.
Like, this is my F around money. This is what I can do with it. Like, if I didn't have my wife to do this, I would be basically doing that. I would be like, here is the money I have socked away that is set. Like when I was a kid, I would literally have to separate money from like, these are things that we're doing for like family or for things I need money for. And then this is my fun time money. And my fun time money lives in this one place. And it is cash that I've pulled out of the bank. So it sits there and it can't get bigger. I can't just use a credit card to cheat myself and being like, oh, it'll be fine. No, it's literal. What is the physical cash I have on hand? That is what I get to use.
Yeah.
And like, I guess it also helps that my parents put like the fear of God of having a debt of any kind into me. So like I pay off every credit card like immediately. Like if I can't pay it, it's like I treat my credit card like my bank account, which is more like if I don't have the cash on hand to pay this off right now, I'm not using it.
Yeah.
And otherwise you get into like, you're like, oh, of course, I'll just put it on layaway. It'll be fine. And next you're like, I've got thousands of dollars of cards and then thousands of dollars of debt.
And the cards do not equal the debt. That's the thing.
No, they
like
sure
down the
don't.
road, the cards will not financially equal the debt.
Let me tell you, the bank does not want your stock ups when they're looking for your rent money.
You tell them.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying when you
but what you did do that's important is you asked for help. I think that's the huge thing to zoom in on is like you asked for help when it comes to budgeting and finance and like boundaries and restrictions. Like sometimes we need to ask for help, whether that's friend or family or even community, Discord community, chat community. One of the reasons why I started streaming when I got sober in the pandemic, when my life fell apart, was because I told my chat, you all keep me accountable. I can't go live under the influence of something. And I'm not forcing that responsibility on you. I'm using you all as an accountability factor. And this is me asking for help. And it's critical that we do that. And I love that you brought up the alcohol point. Tron is bad, another fellow sober person that I love and adore. Tron made a video the other day that was like, hey, can we stop comparing this sort of like hobby to the same addictions like alcohol, cocaine, methamphetamine, like heroin, all those things. And I was like, yeah, that is actually a critical point to say. And that like, you can't just give yourself those substances in the same way that you sort of dip your toe into magic, right? We're not talking about it at that scale. We're talking about it in a, I just want to say that,
magic can be destructive to your life. Yeah. I know people who have like bought cards and done foolish things with magic that have put them into incredibly bad positions in their life. But it's not to the effect. It's like, I mean, look, a gambling addiction is real. And that to an extent is a lot of what magic is a gambling addiction. We get that dopamine hit from opening the pack and be like, hell yeah, I just pulled up the paradigm guy or whatever it is. But like, it is not the same as I don't know. I don't want to minimize it. But I also don't want to compare it because like, man, if you've got a Coke addiction, you are going to be doing a lot worse things than somebody who's like, I need to have another pack.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
well, and like medically, the dopamine is not even the pack opening. The dopamine is holding the pack. This is like, my mom's a nurse. And so when I put this like presentation together for the webinar, I was learning about dopamine, and like your brain floods with dopamine just by holding the pack because it's the potential high or low that comes off of the opening. If you open and hit, then it's more. If you open and don't hit, it's less. But your brain's already giving that chemical signal just by holding the thing in your hand, you know?
My house is full of unopened packs for that reason, because I can just sit there and look at it. And because once you open it, Schrodinger's pack is going to be like, oh man, it's going to be like, dude, like I when I turned 40 and it was during pandemic, I had an Urza Saga booster and I cracked it because I was like, this is my birthday present to myself. I've been sitting on this forever. It was like the hottest garbage you've ever seen come out. I mean, like, you're like, oh, right, a pack from 1998 is like, there's going to be a Gaia's Cradle and like a Tolarian Academy, and then 4 of the worst, most unplayable pieces of crap you've ever seen in your life. And and I was like, oh, I could have just left this unopened forever and just thought about it like, ooh, look at that. Yeah. But you know what, though? Having those unopened and just being able to say, ooh, look at that, goes a long way to stopping me from spending money on things.
Yeah.
And
I have a whole drawer and the drawer is always closed. I'm like, they're in there. I know that they're in there. And I might, Halloween, I opened a collector Duskmorn for myself because I was like, this is on theme. I will open this one collector booster on Halloween that I was given from
Or Wizards if I'm like having a real bad day, sure, I'll crack one. But like, even like, for instance, when I got back into Magic was during Innistrad block and Dark Ascension, and my wife bought me for my birthday a Dark Ascension box. And I forced myself to open one pack at a time over the course of like 3 months. It was like Charlie in the Chocolate Factory, where he's opening that chocolate bar like 1 inch at a time, just a little bit. Because I'm like, if I don't, I'm just gonna party like a child, and that there's no satisfaction. I'm like, I just keep going back to the Buddha. I'm like, there's no satisfaction in this. This is just the joy you're getting is in the wanting, not in the having.
Yeah.
Having does not bring you joy. Having just makes you want to get more.
I love the there was a quote by Mom Donnie recently because they just finished up the I'm gonna mess this up, but like the time of fasting that just closed.
Ramadan.
Ramadan, yes, they just finished up Ramadan, and there was a this girl was like talking to him, and she was like, all I could think about today was eating and wanting to eat on now that this is over. And when they sat down and had the meal, she was like, I've only eaten about a quarter of this, and I don't want any more. And Mom Donnie was like, that's isn't that the point though? That it's the
Mm-hmm.
wanting, but when you sit down and actually obtain the thing that you want, you don't actually want it in the quantity in which your brain and is telling you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, that's beautiful, you know?
Right. And that's like the thing, that's part of why I gravitated to like playing EDH, is because of the fact that it doesn't require me to continually update it. It doesn't require me to and that's also part of why I fight so hard against CDH for what back when I was aggressive about this sort of thing, is because CDH introduces to Commander this notion of a race where I'm trying to beat everybody else, where I'm trying to make sure I get the best tech and the coolest tech, or copy the coolest tech. And that means I need to get the better cards and the strongest cards and keep going and keep feeding the cycle. Whereas I can sit over here and play my Bunnies tokens deck, and I'm like, there's like one card that'll come out every 6 years that I'll put into it and it'll be great.
Yeah.
Or it won't be, and I don't care, because who cares? And like, that's like, you got to trick yourself. That's the only way I can say it. It's like, if you want to do this hobby and you know you've got a problem, you've got to find a way to make peace with yourself, and like allow yourself grace for knowing that you have this problem, and that sometimes you're going to slip and there's going to be a real shiny out there and you're going to buy it. And I'm like, look, I get it. I've been there. A lot of my planes, like in my Titania deck, half of the forest are German misprint planes called Wald, which the 4th edition ones, or like the German foreign black border, they've reprinted all these original planes and call them Forest of the Tap for green. And I call it, like, I use them in my Titania deck because they're symbolic, because they represent how angry she is that all the trees got clear cut. So they go to the graveyard and they come back as elementals that are super angry. It's thematic. See, I get it.
That's beautiful.
But it's also, those lands are $20 a pop.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when you got to sit there and go like, how many of these do I have? That's like $150, $200, $300, $400 with the land.
Yeah.
For forests.
Yeah.
I can pull 40 forests out of my shoe right now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But like, EDH as a form of curated self-expression has been a thing that I've advocated for a while. It's where my YouTube series idea came from in response, is that like we using it as a way to express yourself and to communicate ideas, right? Because what you an EDH deck for me starts as a question, and then you curate the question, you answer it, and it is a way in which to express how your brain and creative flow works, right? When you have a wacky, crazy idea, how do you manifest it? Those things can be like art pieces, slowly curated over time. Let them sit in the museum. Let them gain a little bit of dust, because when you find that one card that's going to have more of an impact than the 10 random things that you could put that would probably make it a higher bracket, but they're really expensive, like, use it to curate that. And the other thing I'll say is that if you do want to crack a box, I have been really, really active in the sealed box Commander League, and we do this at Commander
format.
We do it at Commander Sealed too, where you rip 17 packs. But I've done 2 box leagues so far, and I think if you want to rip a box of booster packs, do it in that setting where the goal is to build a commander deck out of what you have available in that limited format, because at least you're exercising creative expression while getting the joy of the ripping.
And it forces you to not go out and buy a billion cards for your deck. Use the cards that are in the box. That is all you get to do. And it forces you to, it limits the power of your deck, but it also limits the amount of bling and money and like upgrades and stuff that you feel you need to get. Most of my decks start that way, and most of my decks even stay that way, because it's just like, I want to live within this limit, because this also reinforces how I engage with this game in a safe way for me, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I buy a box because look, I'm an adult. I have a job. I can do this. Well, I did have a job and now I don't. This is my job. But it's also like, um, knowing that I buy one box and not like the dudes at my store who used to go and buy a case every set. And I'm like, I don't need a case of cards.
A case?
I've
That's
done that.
wild.
Like, I did that once when I had like my tech salary and I bought like not the equivalent of a case of like Battle for Zendikar. So I could get, this is when I realized when I realized I had a problem. Battle for Zendikar introduced expeditions. I wanted all the expeditions.
Oh,
I
that's
bought
why you buy it. It's like, what?
infinite
Why
trillions.
Zendikar?
Battle for Zendikar is literally my least favorite set of all time. And I've got thousands of those cards. And I keep them as a reminder for the time I slipped. As a time that I can sit there and look at those cards and go like, that was the dumbest goddamn thing you've ever done with this game. And it's not true. I've done some stupid things with Magic, but it was pretty dumb. Yeah. And it was pretty emphatically dumb. And I can sit there and look at it and remind myself every time I feel like, oh man, I need to go get all these cards. And I'm like,
you go stare at the Battle for Zendikar. Yeah. You go stare at it.
How many Endbringers do I have? Like, how many wastes do I need? Like, come on, man. You have to find a way. Like, I'm not telling people to stop playing Magic. I love this game. My livelihood based on this game. And I could talk about Magic forever. But I am telling you to sit there and consider how you approach this game, how you evaluate this game, evaluate your relationship with this game, and look at it and say, like, it's the fun I am getting from playing and hanging out, from collecting, because that's fair. I get fun from collecting too. But if you're a collector like me, find a subset of cards to collect. Don't try to collect all the cards. Find a cool subset that you can over time gain and like build. Like, I've been trying to collect the expeditions and the inventions since they came out. And I gave myself a limitation. I can only buy it if I trade up for it, by go to the store at a show. I could, like, because I could go to Card Kingdom and finish my thing right now and just drop like $300 and get the last few cards, call it a day. No, I force myself to do it the hard way so that it's more satisfying, and it's also like within my budgetary limitations that I force upon myself.
Yeah, and there's a story to it. There's an experience.
Yeah, and there's
to
a story.
There's an emotional connection to the thing. Like
when at the first event right after pandemic, between first lockdown and second lockdown, remember there was that thing that CFB did in Vegas, which was before MagicCons. And what happened was, I went there and with all these cards I'd been sitting up, and I brought them all together. I'm like, I'm going to buy myself a Mox, because I grabbed like literal hundreds and hundreds of cards and I brought them to the store, and I went and I sold them all. And they're like, you don't have enough for a Mox. I'm like, okay, fair. But you have enough for a Beta Soul Ring and an Invention Monocrypt. And I'm like, you know what? I need an Invention Crypt, and a Beta Soul Ring means more to me than literally any other card will. And it also represents surviving the pandemic to me. I am willing to spend $900 worth of trade-ins on this thing. And that was the one time I allowed myself to go and buy a high ticket card. And that's because it represented something to me that's going to be impactful for my whole life.
Yeah.
Is that rare Ouroboros going to be impactful for you your whole life? Nope. Maybe not.
No. That's my my card is the gilded frame Bellow. I wanted that. I love Bellow so much. I wrote a whole primer on my Bellow deck, and
so cool.
There's a raccoon on my bed here. But I knew, I was like, this card is at least $600. So I gathered a bunch of stuff up, sealed product in a singles, and sold it all to somebody who did have one. He met me on the con floor of MagicCon Vegas like 2 years ago when Bloomborough came out. He was like, I have it. I will do the trade with you on the con floor. I was like, thank you so much.
Look, dude, I'm not telling you not to do that, man. I have special collection things that matter to me. Like, I have traded, there's cards that matter. I get it. That's why we're here. Yeah. But think very heavily if this is that card, right? Like, how badly do you need this dude? Maybe you don't. Yeah. Maybe you don't need to go and spend $700 on a bundle of Final Fantasy so you can get the weird off-color Vivi that isn't even the good art.
It's not the good art. I hate that Vivi.
I hate that one so much. But
yeah, that's like, ask yourself why. I think that's a beautiful point to make, is that, like, why are you getting into it? What do you want to get out of it? right? Find the dialogue between the game and you, because you are in constant dialogue with it, whether you're playing it or
Yeah.
collecting it or talking about it with friends. Like it is it is an ongoing conversation. And when it no longer becomes that and it feels like it's something more, it becomes a need. And I know that there's going to be a constant stream of new product coming out and a constant stream of secret layer and everyone telling you that this card is the language is so strong. If somebody tells you that you need a card on it, if there's a piece of content out there and someone says you need to buy this card, that is not true. And I really urge
It's 100% not true.
I urge myself and other creators out there to let's try to curate our language a little better so that we don't sort of continue to push this narrative.
Yeah, like this is on us. This is on us to treat this game responsibly and to help people engage with this game responsibly. Like, because a lot of this is coming from folks like us who sit there and go on these streams and be like, "Oh, dude, you need these top 12 cards out of Edge of Eternity." Or, you know, Strixhaven or whatever the hell. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Nobody's saying that for Turtles. I get it.
No one's saying that.
And I even like
Turtles. Though, speaking of Turtles, common uncommons, sewer surveillance cam and skateboard, insane cards.
I love that I mean, real talk, I love that skateboard is a card that became the hot one because I'm like, everybody was like, skateboard, this is the dumbest thing in the world. And I'm like, yeah, it is. But you're going to be putting Vivi on a skateboard, buddy, and you're going to like
it. Yes.
Oh, my God. I think Turtles, for whatever it's worth, had a lot of amazing card designs and was terrible limited. And people were just also turned off by the fact that it's Turtles. But I love Turtles, so I was okay with that. My problem is that the chase cards I really want from Turtles are the sketches from Kevin Eastman that have the signatures on them. And you know what? Donatello costs $3,150. Raphael, the one I actually want for my favorite turtle, is $2,175.
What?
You know what I'm not going to do? That. Like, sorry, dog. I love Raphael. I will go find Kevin Eastman and ask him to draw me one, and it will cost less than that card did.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Like, come on. Oh my God. This is just brutal. This is so brutal. Why? Like, the only way to tell Wizards not to do this is to not buy cards, and we're not going to do that. So they're going to keep doing that.
We're in this sort of weird like
death spiral.
It's a loop. It's just a constant feedback loop because like we are going to continue to buy cards. I'm going to continue to do it.
Like, I'm not going to be a hypocrite here. I know I'm going to go buy cards. I just did yesterday. I'm going to do it again tomorrow. Well, not tomorrow. Whenever the next set release, maybe it is tomorrow. I don't know.
we just finished a sold out pre-release, like which is amazing. It's so good to see every pre-release sold out completely for Strixhaven, and it's a great set. It's such a well designed set. Kudos to everyone who worked on it. But like, I just watched a whole bunch of people drop a whole bunch of money all weekend on Strixhaven, and I'm like, yep. But you know what? I would rather we do it for in-universe sets than Universes Beyond. I'm a Spider-Man fan. You're a Turtle fan. But it's good to see consistently, at least at my LGS, in-universe sets, pre-releases sell out completely. Universes Beyond sets do not sell out pre-releases. So what do we do with that data? I don't know.
Though. Like Avatar The Last Airbender sold out of my store.
Yes.
That's also because Avatar is cool and it feels like a fantasy set. Final Fantasy felt like it fit with Magic. Yeah. Spider-Man doesn't. Turtles, as much as I love Turtles, did not feel like a Magic set.
Yeah.
Even though Everything Pizza was awesome. You know, even though the Commander set had some of the coolest cards ever. But like, bro.
Yeah. I think that that's a whole other like conversation.
That's a different discussion.
That's a whole other conversation. Yeah. But Turtles fun. Raph and Mikey. I think Raph and Mikey, great card out of Turtles. Oh,
honestly, every Raphael based card has been great, and that's not just because I love Raphael, but it's also because I love Raphael.
I'm a Leo stan. So.
I mean, I've been my boy in red since the. Anyways, that's a different topic. But with that though, you know what, man? We've been talking for a long time, and this has been a lovely chat, and it's been really fun. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. I'm so glad we got to do this. I'm so glad we connected at Shoebox finally. Like,
it's so cool. Yeah. If folks wanted to find you, where would they go?
You can find me on the internet at every social at k0ppk. Do that twice. So cop cop. It'll be the first thing that pops up on all socials.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as always, you can find me on Blue Sky at Shivam Bhatt. You can find this podcast anywhere podcasts are sold, or at YouTube every Tuesday. Thanks to my editor, Dan. You could also hear me on Shiva Wheeler Love Magic or the Chronicles of Dragonlance podcast. And remember, my friends, it's not magic without the gathering, and we'll see you next time.